Why are the hardest days of your life always the days right before something great happens to you? Have you ever noticed that? You work hard, you try your best, and then, just when you feel like giving up, life throws you one more problem, one more setback, one more reason to quit. I want you to sit with that question for a moment, because I am going to answer it for you today. My name is Napoleon Hill, and for most of my life, I studied the greatest men and women who ever walked this earth. I studied why some people rise to the top while others, just as smart, just as talented, stay stuck at the bottom. And here is what I found. It is not luck. It is not talent. It is not even hard work alone. It is a test. Every single person who has ever achieved something great in this world was tested first. Tested by failure. Tested by pain. Tested by doubt. Tested by the people closest to them who said, "It cannot be done." And most people fail that test, not because they are weak, not because they are not smart enough. They fail because nobody ever told them the test was coming. So today I am going to tell you. I am going to explain why you are being tested right now, in this very season of your life. And by the end of this message, you will understand that the pain you are feeling is not punishment. It is preparation. Let me start with something simple. Think about a piece of iron. If you leave iron alone, it stays soft. It bends easily. It breaks easily. But if you put that iron into fire, if you heat it until it glows red, and then you hammer it again and again, something happens. The iron becomes steel. It becomes strong. It becomes something that can hold weight, cut through rock, and build bridges that last for 100 years. That iron did not become steel by staying comfortable. It became steel by going through fire. You are that iron right now, and life is the fire. I know this is hard to hear when you are in the middle of your struggle. When you have lost your job, or your business is failing, or people you trusted have walked away from you, it does not feel like fire that is making you stronger. It feels like fire that is burning you alive. But I promise you, if you can hold on, if you can stay in that fire just a little longer without breaking, you will come out the other side as something the world has never seen before. You will come out as steel. Let me tell you something about every great person who ever lived. Every single one of them wanted to quit at some point. Every single one of them had a moment where they looked at their life and thought, "This is too hard. I cannot do this anymore." The difference between the people who became great and the people who stayed ordinary was not that the great ones never wanted to quit. The difference is that the great ones did not quit on the day they wanted to. Think about that for a second. Wanting to quit is not a sin. It is human. Every person alive has felt it. But there is a huge difference between feeling like quitting and actually quitting. The people who change the world are not the ones who never feel weak. They are the ones who feel weak and keep walking anyway. Now let me ask you something important. Why does life test us before it gives us success? Why can we not just get what we want the easy way? Here is the truth, and I want you to really listen to this part. If success came easy, you would not know how to keep it. Think about people who win the lottery. Studies have shown that many of them lose all their money within a few years. Why? Because they got the money without earning the skill to handle it. They did not build the discipline, the patience, the wisdom that comes from struggle. So when the money came, they did not know how to protect it, grow it, or use it wisely. It slipped right through their fingers. But when you build something the hard way, when you fight for it, when you fail and get back up, fail again and get back up again, something happens inside of you. You become the kind of person who deserves success, not because you are lucky, not because you are special, but because you built the character that can hold it. This is why the test comes before the success and not after. The universe or God, or whatever you choose to call the higher power in your life, is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to prepare you. It is making sure that by the time success arrives, you are strong enough to keep it. Let me tell you a story. It is not about anyone famous. It is about a man I once knew, a simple man who worked in a small shop, This man had a dream of owning his own business one day. For years, he saved every penny he could. He worked long hours. He sacrificed things other people enjoyed, like nights out and vacations, because he believed in his dream. Then one day, disaster struck. A fire burned down the building, where he kept his savings hidden, along with important papers he needed. Everything he had worked for seemed to be gone in one single night. Now, most people would have given up right there. Most people would have said, "This is a sign. I was never meant to have my own business." But this man did something different. He sat in the ashes of that fire, and instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" he asked a better question. He asked, "What can I learn from this? What can I do differently now?" He realized that keeping all his money in one place had been a mistake. He realized he needed better systems, better protection, and better planning. So he started over. Slower this time, but smarter. And a few years later, he opened his shop. It became one of the most trusted businesses in his town. Years after that, he told me something I never forgot. He said, "That fire was the best thing that ever happened to me, even though it felt like the worst." He said if that fire had never happened, he would have opened his business the wrong way, without the wisdom he gained from the disaster. The fire did not destroy his dream. It corrected his path. I want you to think about your own life right now. What fire are you walking through? What disaster feels like it has burned everything down? I want you to ask yourself that same question this man asked. Not, "Why did this happen to me?" but, "What is this teaching me? What is this correcting in me?" Every failure carries a lesson inside of it, like a seed hidden inside a piece of fruit. If you throw away the fruit because it tastes bitter, you will never find the seed. But if you take the time to look inside your failure, you will find something valuable that you can plant and grow into your future success. Now let me talk about something very important. Fear. Fear is the number one reason people fail the test before their success. Not laziness, not lack of intelligence. Fear. Fear whispers in your ear at the worst possible moments. It tells you that you are not good enough. It tells you that you will fail. It tells you that other people are laughing at you behind your back. It tells you to play it safe, to stay where you are, to not take the risk. And here is the tricky part about fear. It always shows up right before a breakthrough. Right when you are about to take the biggest step of your life, fear gets the loudest. This is not a coincidence. Fear knows that if you take that step, everything is about to change. So it fights hardest right at the finish line. This means something powerful. When you feel the most afraid, you are probably the closest to your breakthrough. Fear is not a sign that you should stop. Fear is a sign that you are on the right path and something big is about to happen. I want you to remember this the next time fear shows up in your life. Do not see it as a stop sign. See it as proof that you are close. Let me talk about another test that almost everyone faces. The test of other people's opinions. When you decide to chase a big dream, not everyone will support you. In fact, some of the people closest to you, your family, your friends, the people you trust the most, might be the ones who doubt you the most. This is one of the hardest tests of all, because it does not just attack your confidence. It attacks your heart. It is one thing for a stranger to say you cannot do something. It is another thing entirely when it is your own mother, your own brother, your own best friend. But let me tell you something about doubt from people who love you. Most of the time, they are not trying to hurt you. They are trying to protect you. They have seen the world be hard and unfair, and they do not want to see you get hurt by chasing something that might not work out. Their doubt often comes from fear, not from a lack of love. Understanding this can help you feel less angry at them. But it does not mean you should let their fear become your fear. You can love someone and still choose a different path than the one they want for you. You can respect their opinion and still follow your own dream. Every person who has ever done something great was doubted by someone close to them at some point. The inventors who were told their ideas were foolish. the writers who were told nobody would ever read their books, the business owners who were told they would lose everything. They all heard the doubt, but they did not let the doubt become the final word. They let their own belief in themselves become louder than the doubt of others. This is a skill you must build. The skill of hearing criticism without letting it control you. The skill of listening to advice with respect, but making your own final decision based on what you believe deep in your heart. Now, I want to talk about patience, because patience is one of the hardest tests of all. We live in a world today that wants everything fast. Fast food, fast messages, fast answers to every question. And because of this, many people have lost the ability to wait for something good to grow. But here is the truth about anything valuable in life. It takes time to build. A tree that grows in one day will die in one day. But a tree that takes 20 years to grow can stand for 200 years. If your dream is taking longer than you expected, this does not mean it is failing. It might simply mean it is becoming something bigger and stronger than you originally imagined. Roots that go deep take time to grow, but they hold up trees that can survive the strongest storms. Think about a farmer planting seeds. The farmer does not plant a seed in the morning and expect a full crop by the afternoon. The farmer plants the seed, waters it, protects it, and waits. Weeks pass, sometimes months. The farmer cannot see anything happening under the soil, but underneath, in the dark, in the place nobody can see, the seed is working. It is growing roots. It is preparing to break through the surface. Your dream is doing the same thing right now. Even if you cannot see any results yet, just because you cannot see growth does not mean growth is not happening. Some of the most important work happens underground, in the dark, before anything appears above the surface. This is why so many people quit too early. They plant the seed, and when they do not see results in a week, or a month, or even a year, they dig it back up, thinking it is dead. But the moment they give up is often the moment, right before the seed was about to break through the soil. I want you to remember this the next time you feel like giving up. You may be closer to your breakthrough than you realize. The final test right before success is often the hardest one, because it is testing whether you will hold on for just a little bit longer. Now let me talk about something people do not like to talk about. Failure. Failure has a bad reputation. People treat it like it is the enemy. They avoid it. They fear it. They feel shame when it happens to them. But I want to change the way you see failure, starting today. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. Every person who ever achieved something great failed many times along the way. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who does not is not the number of times they failed. It is what they did after they failed. Some people fail once and decide that failure means they are not good enough, so they stop trying. Other people fail and see it as information. They ask, what went wrong? What can I fix? What can I do differently next time? Then they try again, a little smarter than before. If you fail 10 times but learn something new each time, you are 10 steps closer to success than the person who never tried at all. Failure is not proof that you cannot do something. Failure is proof that you are trying. And trying is the only way anything great has ever been built. I want you to think about a baby learning to walk. A baby falls down again and again and again, sometimes 20 times in one day. But the baby never once thinks, I am a failure. I was never meant to walk. The baby simply gets back up without shame, without giving up, and tries again. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we forget this lesson. We start attaching shame to failure. We start believing that falling down means something is wrong with us. But falling down has never meant that. Falling down simply means you are learning something new. The only real failure is staying on the ground and refusing to get back up. Now let us talk about something that ties all of this together. Purpose. Why do some people survive the hardest tests while others break under much smaller pressure? The answer often comes down to one thing: purpose. When you know exactly why you are doing something, when your reason is bigger than your comfort, You can survive almost anything. But when you do not have a clear purpose, even small problems can feel impossible to overcome. Think about a mother who will do anything to protect her children. Fear does not stop her, because her love for her children is bigger than her fear. Think about a person fighting for their family's survival. Exhaustion does not stop them, because their purpose is bigger than their tiredness. This is the power of purpose. It gives you strength that logic alone cannot explain. So I want to ask you something important. What is your purpose? Why are you chasing the dream you are chasing? If your answer is small, like wanting more money just to buy more things, that purpose may not be strong enough to carry you through the hardest tests. But if your purpose is connected to something deeper, like providing a better life for your family, like proving to yourself that you are capable of more, like becoming an example for your children to follow, that purpose can carry you through storms that would destroy someone with a weaker reason. I want you to take a moment right now and think deeply about your own why. Not the surface answer, but the real one. Write it down if you need to. Because when the test comes, and it will come, your purpose is what will keep you standing when everything else in you wants to fall. Let us talk now about self-discipline, because this is where most tests are truly won or lost. Discipline is doing the right thing even when you do not feel like doing it. It is waking up early when you want to sleep in. It is working on your dream when you are tired. It is saying no to comfort today so you can build a better life tomorrow. Here is something important to understand about discipline. Motivation is like a fire that starts hot but burns out quickly. It gets you excited in the beginning, but it fades. Discipline is different. Discipline does not depend on how you feel. It depends on what you decide, no matter how you feel. This is why some people start strong but quit halfway through, while others, who may not have started as excited, end up finishing what they began. Motivation gets you started. Discipline gets you to the finish line. If you are waiting to feel motivated before you take action, you might be waiting for a very long time. But if you build discipline, you do not have to wait for motivation at all. You simply do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. I want to share something with you about small actions, because people often underestimate how powerful they are. Success is not usually built through one giant, dramatic moment. Success is built through small actions, repeated every single day, even when nobody is watching, even when there is no reward in sight. Think about someone who wants to get physically stronger. They do not become strong after one workout. They become strong after months of small workouts, done consistently, even on the days they did not feel like it. The same is true for your dream. You do not need one huge miracle moment to change your life. You need small, consistent actions, done every single day, that slowly build into something big over time. This is why the tests you face are often small, daily struggles rather than one giant dramatic event. Waking up early when you want to sleep. Working on your goal for one more hour when you are tired. Staying kind and patient when someone makes you angry. These small tests, repeated daily, are shaping you more than you realize. Now I want to speak directly to whatever struggle you are facing right now in your life. Maybe you have lost something important to you. A job, a relationship, a dream that fell apart. Maybe you feel like you have tried everything and nothing is working. Maybe you feel embarrassed, like you are falling behind everyone else your age. Maybe you feel so tired that even getting out of bed feels hard some days. I want you to know something. What you are feeling is real, and it is okay to feel it. You do not have to pretend to be strong all the time. But I also want you to know that this pain you are feeling right now is not the end of your story. It is a chapter. A hard chapter, yes, but not the final one. Every person who has ever built something meaningful in this world has stood exactly where you are standing right now. Tired, doubting, wondering if it is all worth it. And the ones who made it through were not people without pain. They were people who kept walking even while carrying that pain. You can do the same thing. Not because it will be easy, but because you are stronger than you believe yourself to be right now. Let me tell you something about strength. You never truly know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have left. Many of the people who have overcome the hardest tests in life did not feel brave in the moment. They felt scared, tired, and unsure. But they took one more step anyway, and then another, and then another. And one day they looked back and realized that all those small steps had carried them somewhere amazing. I want to talk about faith now, because faith is what carries you through the parts of the test where you cannot see any proof yet. Faith is not about pretending everything is perfect. Faith is choosing to believe in a better outcome, even when the present moment gives you no evidence that things will get better. This kind of faith is hard to hold on to sometimes, especially during long, difficult seasons. But I want you to think of faith like a muscle. The more you use it, even in small amounts, the stronger it becomes. You do not need giant, unshakable faith all at once. You simply need enough faith to take the next step, just the next one. You do not need to see the entire staircase to start climbing. You only need to see the next step in front of you. This is how every great dream has ever been built. Not by seeing the whole path clearly from the very beginning, but by trusting enough to take one step, and then trusting enough to take the next one after that. Now, let me speak about something that connects everything I have shared with you today. The idea that your current test is designed specifically for you. You may look at other people and think their lives look easier than yours. But every single person carries a battle you cannot see. The person who seems confident may be fighting fear you know nothing about. The person who seems successful may have failed more times than you can imagine before they got there. Your test is not a punishment sent to hurt you. It is a preparation designed to build exactly the kind of strength, wisdom, and character you will need to handle the success that is coming your way. If your test feels hard, it is because your future requires strength you do not have yet. And the only way to build that strength is by going through hard things. Think about this. Would you trust a doctor who never studied medicine? Would you trust a pilot who never trained to fly a plane? Of course not. And in the same way, life does not hand out great success to people who have not yet built the character to handle it. The test is not there to stop you from reaching your success. The test is there to prepare you for it. So the next time life feels hard, I want you to change the question you are asking. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this preparing me for?" Instead of asking, "When will this pain end?" ask, "What strength am I building right now that I will need later?" This shift in thinking will not make the pain disappear completely, but it will give the pain a purpose. And pain with a purpose is much easier to carry than pain that feels meaningless. I want to leave you with one final thought before we close today. Every champion, every leader, every person who ever changed the world faced a moment where they wanted to quit. A moment where the pain felt too heavy, the doubt felt too loud, and the path forward felt completely unclear. But they made one decision that changed everything. They decided to take one more step, not because they were certain it would work, not because they had all the answers, but because they believed, deep in their heart, that giving up was a worse option than trying and possibly failing again. That same decision is available to you right now, in this very moment. You do not need to have your whole future figured out today. You do not need to feel completely confident or completely ready. You simply need to decide to take the next step. Get up one more time than you fall down. Try one more time after being told no. Believe in yourself for one more day, even when it feels hard to do so. This is how every great success story has ever been written. Not through people who never struggled, but through people who struggled and refused to stay down. You are being tested right now, because something great is waiting for you on the other side of this struggle. The fire you are walking through is not there to destroy you. It is there to shape you into the strong, capable, unstoppable person you were always meant to become. So hold on. Keep going. Trust the process, even the painful parts of it. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. If this message inspired you today, subscribe to Zudda Principles and turn on notifications so you never miss our next motivational video. Share this video with someone who needs encouragement today. Remember, your future begins with the choices you make today. Until next time, keep believing in yourself and keep moving forward. Times on your journey toward the life you want. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. This is simply a sign that you are standing at the edge of real growth. The question that matters most is not, how do I get rid of my fear? The question that matters most is, will I let this fear stop me, or will I move forward anyway? Courage, my friend, was never about the absence of fear. Courage is choosing your purpose, your goal, and your dream, even while your hands are shaking. I want to speak now about the words you use, both to yourself and to others, because words are simply thoughts that have taken shape and stepped out into the world. And words, spoken again and again, have a way of digging deep grooves into our beliefs about ourselves. Pay close attention for a few days to the words you use when you speak about yourself. Do you often say things like, I am so bad at this, or I never get anything right, or that is just not who I am? These words may feel like harmless habits of speech, but they are quietly training your mind to accept those statements as unchangeable truths about your identity. Instead, begin practicing new words, honest words, but hopeful ones. Instead of saying, I am terrible at this, try saying, I am still learning this and I am improving. Instead of saying, I always fail at these things, try saying, I have not mastered this yet, but I am getting closer. This is not about lying to yourself. It is about choosing words that leave room for growth, instead of words that lock you inside a small, painful box. The way you speak to yourself, especially in private, especially in moments of struggle, has more power over your future than almost anything else in your life. Speak to yourself the way a good and wise friend would speak to you. Honest but encouraging. Truthful but kind. Now I want to gently remind you of something important. Transforming your thoughts and through them, transforming your life is not something that happens perfectly, all at once, without any stumbles along the way. There will be days when old fears creep back in. There will be moments when doubt whispers louder than usual. There will be times when you catch yourself slipping back into old patterns of negative thinking that you thought you had already left behind. This does not mean you have failed. This does not mean the process does not work. It simply means you are human, and growth is not a straight line. It is more like climbing a mountain path that winds and curves, sometimes even doubling back on itself, but still, overall, moving upward. When you notice yourself slipping, do not waste your time and energy being harsh with yourself. Simply notice it, gently correct your thinking, and continue forward. A small stumble does not erase all the progress you have already made. It is only a stumble, not the end of the climb. Be patient with yourself, the same way you would be patient with someone you love who is trying their best to grow and improve. You deserve that same patience and kindness from yourself. I also want to remind you that transforming your life is not something you do only for yourself. It ripples outward, touching the lives of the people around you in ways you may not even realize at first. When you become a person who thinks with purpose, who faces fear with courage, who keeps moving forward despite setbacks, you become an example, whether you intend to or not. Your children watch you. Your friends watch you. Even strangers who simply cross your path for a moment can be quietly influenced by the strength and steadiness they sense in you. You may never fully know how many people were encouraged simply by watching you refuse to give up. This is one more reason why the work you do on your own mind matters so deeply. It is never only about you. It becomes a light that others can see, even from far away, even during their own darkest moments. So as you leave this video today, I want you to carry a few simple truths with you. Truths that are simple enough for anyone to understand, yet powerful enough to completely reshape a life, if practiced with patience and sincerity. You are the one who decides which thoughts are allowed to stay in your mind. No person, no circumstance, no past failure has the final authority over your thinking unless you hand that authority over to them. A clear picture of what you want, held in your mind with strong feeling and repeated often, becomes a quiet but powerful guide for your daily choices and actions. Failure is never proof that you should quit. It is simply feedback, often carrying hidden lessons that can push you higher, if you are willing to look for them instead of running from them. Faith in yourself must often come before proof arrives. Belief is frequently the very spark that creates the courage needed to take the action that eventually brings the proof you were waiting for. Self-discipline, practiced in small, consistent actions, builds a strength that no sudden burst of motivation could ever match. The people you allow closest to your mind and your dreams matter deeply, so choose with care who you allow to speak into the most important parts of your life. Gratitude trains your mind to notice good, even while you continue working toward greater good that is still on its way. Comparison to others is an unfair judge. The only fair comparison is between who you were yesterday and who you are quietly becoming today. Fear will always show up at the edge of real growth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward, purpose in hand, even while your heart is pounding. And finally, the words you speak to yourself, especially in private, are quietly shaping the beliefs that will guide your entire future. So speak to yourself with honesty and with kindness. None of this requires you to be perfect. None of this requires you to have everything figured out today. It simply requires you to begin, right where you are standing, with the mind you already have and the will to guide it a little more carefully, starting from this very moment. Somewhere out there, a version of your life is waiting, one filled with more purpose, more courage, more peace, and more of the good things you have quietly hoped for, even during your hardest days. That version of your life is not out of reach. It begins exactly like every great transformation in history has begun, with a single thought, chosen on purpose and protected with care. Choose that thought today, protect it tomorrow, and watch patiently but confidently as your life slowly begins to reflect the mind you have taken the time to build. If this message inspired you today, subscribe to Zudda Principles and turn on notifications so you never miss our next motivational video. Share this video with someone who needs encouragement today. Remember, your future begins with the choices you make today. Until next time, keep believing in yourself and keep moving forward.